Hello, welcome to episode 3 of the Raina Rouse show. Episode 2, no issues with editing. I actually found a better program to start some of that editing, and it worked wonders. Cut down a lot of the different time. I hope the quality in terms of the video is okay. I'm very aware that the quality for sound was really bad. So I've done a few things to change that. I'm borrowing a mic, so I've got a better quality mic. Here I am punching the screen. Um, yeah, so we can try that, see if that works. Makes it a little better from some of the checks I've done. It seems to be good. Bare bones, really. I'm starting from not having much, just working with what I have. And yeah, so welcome to episode 3. Let's see what are we doing with our canvas here. So, some refresher. We had the episode 2 that was Forever Lost with little dude up here, a little squish, all this going on, looking good with the machinery. And then we have down here the stuff that we did with an actual episode 2. Some fun things going on. I think I mentioned some of the ideas I have for this piece, even though it's really just doodles. I think it was just, I really wanted to just start off doing doodles and kind of showing some of my playfulness with my my craft, my ballpoint pen drawing. It's kind of helps me with imagination, creativity. So yeah, today we are picking off right off up there. Um, there will be some kind of what's the word, structure to this. I really just want to do, I think I mentioned in the last episode. Let me fix my setup here. The next episode, or not the next episode, one of the episodes, I'm going to be using this up top left corner to be just lines. I'm going to do something with movement. It actually brings up a good moment. I was thinking of, it might be fun to share some of my doodles that I don't share. Some just little things I do to warm up. Some of my other sketchbook, did some other doodles. Same type of things. Just kind of very similar. At least these are just my doodles, trying to have fun. You got see this guy. He's got his eye and a tongue and sword. Just super fun. Just rolling with it. But let me show you what I'm thinking about, or you all, what I'm thinking about with regards to the lines. Kind of something like this. This is something I've posted on Instagram. I realize I should link my Instagram. Probably be a good idea. Not on there as much, just to really make updates on these pieces. But as you can see, all of this is just doodling. I'm just having fun. There's really no structure to pieces, but when I really take my time with it, plan out something, I can make something a little more structured, a little more planned out. A lot of my digital work is like that, but for now, especially with these episodes, just working on this main piece. I actually have an idea of bringing in one of these pieces to do an episode for a first digital episode, but my concern with that is just how it's going to come out in video. I'm in the process of saving for a PC right now, so when that comes to be, I can really start maybe streaming or even just recording episodes on the computer, so I can record and capture some of the drawings that I make online, or at least not online, but on my digital craft. I mainly use Clip Studio right now, but I'm also well versed in Photoshop. Sometimes I put my pieces into Photoshop mainly just to edit them out. And when I say edit, I'm meaning like I add like little details, borderings, making sure certain things are centered. Maybe even font type stuff. I like using Photoshop's font because I'm just far more comfortable with it than Clip Studio. By the way, as I sorry, I'm touching the mic and stuff. My first time working with like a actual mic. I've been just talking two Bluetooth speakers or something like that. For the last one, the camera's mic, and that did not go well. Hopefully it's still listenable. But yeah, I'm gonna get started on this drawing. But just try to find a better place for the mic. Maybe with time I can find something that works. Maybe I can find something that can attach to my rig. So today's episode, what are we talking about? Well, like I said, I want to talk in some of these episodes about music that I listen to. A lot of my artwork is very inspired by music that I listen to. And I don't think I mentioned in the last episode, but I know it was in the last episode that I talked about wanting to actually talk about some of my favorite albums. So that's what I've been listening to lately. I have a list of 5. That list always changes, but most of them have been they've been on there for a long time, so I feel like they're perfect to go to. And I also think it's a good reference to the type of digital artwork that I'll be working on, primarily from these bands I'm pulling from. I think there may be one of them that I might be sharing sometime soon that doesn't come from one of these 5 bands, but it gives you just a reference to the things I listen to. I wanted to start off by I wanted to do it actually with like, let's do all 5. Let's go. Let's try to see what we can do. If there's enough time for it, but I think it's just cramming, and I don't think I can really give each album or even sets of albums their time. Um, so I'm going to start off by introducing a few and maybe make this like its own parter. Maybe I can make it a series as this list will change in time. Maybe I will change my mind on opinions and maybe choose other albums as being preferred, or however that goes. So this is starting to look like goggles. I was watching a movie yesterday. Sorry, let's not change the subject. Maybe I should change. Well, little tangents, right? They're not too bad. I should finish my point though. So, music, artists. So this episode will be. I'm going to talk about 2 albums that are on my like top favorites albums that I really love, and then I'm going to, in addition, add on. I may add this on there depending on how much time it takes up. I don't know how long I could really talk on albums. I keep thinking about the last episode where I talked about music that I listened to. I think I mentioned it there. We'll see how much I really can get into albums now that, it's something that I have just recently started listening to, but I've been listening to for most of my life. How are these gonna work? Oh, that could work actually. So I'm hoping that I have this makes material, that it's something to talk about, and hopefully, if you know these albums, you will enjoy. If you don't, then definitely. My sister was telling me this is a good way to look at it. You have a treat for you in the future if you choose to listen to them. I think too. Following my artwork, a lot of my artwork will be related to these bands, so I am going to try to do my best to not just do music that I like, but what's music out there that's really popular. I know there's a piece that's on my mind and a song that I'd like to do it on, but it's just very daunting because I already know what I want to draw, but it involves drawing like gesture and figure drawing and people, and I wouldn't claim that I'm the best at that. I'm very beginner. I'm far more abstract, and I've been told that I'm a good illustrator, but it's just when I feel more comfortable to do it, I will choose to. Let's see. Get that in there. So, does that work? I realize they look like goggles. I was watching so back to the tangent. I was watching I'm not big into anime. I'll say that now, but I like watching certain anime movies, so I really love Akira. It was like it's like a religious experience for me. Like, oh my goodness, like it felt like I was under the influence or something. Like it just felt like it was such a such an interesting story, such uh, just very dramatic and profound elements of themes and just how the artwork was portrayed. I really loved Akira, and I forgive me if I don't know the name. I think his last name is Ono. No, it's not. It's like Otomo. Let's look it up. Are we doing a word bank today? I have word bank actually prepared for today, but let's look this up real fast. Anime. There we go. Created by I don't want to butcher his last name, so forgive me. I'm not going to try to. Let's see. Are we in screen? Yes, we are. Katsuhiro Otomo. He's the guy who made Akira. He has this other thing, this other piece. It's like an anthology that has to deal with a couple of different stories. One of them being a space story, the other one being like this like biological weapon where this guy starts to stink, and like everyone's trying to wear gas masks so that they don't like catch it. I'll leave it at that, so it's not spoiler or anything, but it's just gas masks. Drawing these eye goggles just makes me think about it. So let's get into talking the music. So five albums that I have on my favorite list. We're going to talk about two of them today, maybe a potential honorary mention that like maybe it's up there on my top 10, but like Jesus, like there's just so many. It's hard to really put a number on it. But I like making lists, so here's where you got your five lists. So there's a couple of ways that I critique an album, not even to say critique, like just decide if I like it or not, and how much I listen to it, and how much I put weight on how much I want to re-listen to it and really dive into what the intent, particularly what's the story about. There's a couple of ways that I go about this, and I'll be honest, some of them don't follow that, but there are some qualities that I have. So the first one that I put up there is we could put it right here in the little sketch paper. Let's see, is that in focus? Yeah. So first thing that I really look for, and this may be like a it's too what's the word? It's too demanding of an album maybe, but it's just the way that I think of when I'm thinking of like, whoa, what are like my favorite albums? What are like really good albums? Every song really has to be like pretty solid. Every song has to be real, like really good is one thing, but it's another thing that each song has like something to it. And so, like I said, one of the albums for sure on this list is gonna divert from that. So disclaimer there, but it's really one of the things that I grew up with, thinking about albums, talking about albums and music, is that I like to see that not every song can be beautiful, but some songs are not going to speak to me as much as others, and so I'll give them their credit if need be. But it's one of the things that I recognize as I listen to music, and it's like I said, this is probably like it's very demanding, but it's just one of those things. Like if every song is really good, then it just helps even further. Another tool that I use, or another point of what's the word, criteria that I use, is that there is an arcing story and that includes like themes, metaphors, concepts. I love concept albums. Is that even in frame? Yes, it is. Thank God. So arcing story, arcing themes. I love albums that are joined with some sense of story and connection to the rest of the album. It's it's uh it's a LP, maybe it's a long play, so there's something that's trying to come out. That's not just simply a collection of songs, and that can be okay too. It's just like you get extra points. I really love albums that have story to it. If it's just a couple of songs that have story to it, then it's a little different. That's fine. But that's one thing that definitely I love about music, and artists that make music that put a lot of time into creating that. Sometimes it's okay. I know last episode I talked about listening to Smashing Pumpkins. They put out an album a couple years ago that is called Oh So Shiny, Oh So Bright, something like that. And it wasn't a concept album, it was just a collection of songs. you know it's a good album, it's a good time. uh, there's a couple of songs on there that I actually really love, but you know it's it's just one of those critiques that I think about when I'm listening to music, especially an album. I love listening to an album all the way through and tying the ending to the beginning, hearing ways of how certain songs bring certain ideas to completion, and or explore maybe different aspects of those ideas. Um, yeah, there's one I'm forgetting here as a critique that I normally put on music. Um, it might be in relation to this, but when there's a structure to how the songs flow, to the ideas, how they go from one song to the next. I really love structure. Um, it could be how one song flows into the other, but sometimes it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be song, because sometimes that really messes up a shuffle. But if it's in an album, it could be very enjoyable. So yeah, there might be other critiquing qualities that I may bring up, but as for now, those are the main ones. I really put a lot of weight on arcing story and every song being good, especially if I'm talking about something that I'm putting on high esteem. Hurry about this one. This one feels like I'm like a snob or something, but no, there are some albums I really like that actually aren't that popular, and you know, not like hipstery, but just they just speak to me for whatever reason. Either they came to me at this certain time in my life, or maybe I yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Maybe I just maybe there's something about it. Well, I know one of the albums on today's episode will be part of that, but let's get into it. So this episode will very much be as I thought about it. I think it'll be very much the alternative rock episode. So let's talk about the first album. Let's see how this is gonna fit, because I have it within the word bank, and I realize I'm drawing off screen. My apologies. I think this is also such a big thing to do, that it's, or at least for me to talk about, is me coming back to this drawing. I have no idea what's going on, right? But that's kind of what always happens in my doodles. I don't know where this is going. I'm doing more lines than anything, but we'll see where it goes. I've got something up here. Maybe it's a spaceship or something. Oh, that actually is kind of a cool idea. Okay, we're gonna do that. So, first album to talk about, and by the way, these two albums in particular, and the next two after, I have no order. I don't have a one, or sorry, I don't have a two, a three, and a four. I do have a one. I realized this recently because I was trying to situate like, oh, a white noise stopped. Oh, it's because of an incoming call. I have the do not disturb on, but it's still going. That's strange. So, yeah, there's no order to this. Just because I share this one doesn't mean it's the first, doesn't mean it's the fifth, doesn't mean I like it any less than number 3 or number 4. It just I can't really put one above the other. They're all great. And there is one though that I said I believe I've had to think hard on it, and I didn't even really think that hard on it. I think it just came to me, and I was just like, whoa, this actually is my favorite album. So I do have a number 1. I'll get to it soon. And for today, though, like I said, it's no order. First on the list, first of my 5 top favorite albums, Third Eye Blind, self-titled. It is from 1997, and as you can see, I have prepared a list. I'm realizing I'm dropping this right on the artwork. So there's a list. I have a whole breakdown of everything that I'd like to say and or have significance here. Here's the list. These are all the songs on the album. A lot of these songs are popular, well known. So yeah, we can get right into it. So there are stars on the albums that have, I think I put on there that they are singles, but they're also like probably the most popular songs, especially for Third Eye Blind self-title. The little circles are songs that I have important mentions on there, or some significance to talk about relating to them. If it's a circle like that, sometimes I might just be saying I love this song. It's just so good. Maybe it's got a really good rhythm. It's got a good way of it says a lot within lyrics. Maybe it's just yeah. Again, I am trying to figure out how to do this talking thing while the drawing at the same time. So yeah. So important note on this album. This album's kind of like, I would like to say it's my family's album. This is a really popular album within my family. A lot of us listen to it. A lot of us love it. We're constantly talking about meanings within it, and just specifically Third Eye Blind. It's just one of the most influential and people in my family. One of them that hold the reins to a degree. They have really loved this album throughout their life, and it's made such an impression. And that's really a big part of why this song is on this list. Not only is it good, not only is it my family's album to a degree, it's just it's influenced a lot of my music taste, a lot of how I look at music, and what I decide I like. And the biggest thing to mention right to begin with is that Third Eye Blind, and especially a lot of these songs, let's go through this. Losing a Whole Year, Narcolepsy. I don't think Semi Charm Life can fall into this, or Jumper. I don't even think Graduate, but Losing a Whole Year, Narcolepsy. Thanks a Lot falls out too. Let's see. No, not Burning Man. Not for Good for You. I'm starting to break this down. Well, it's not especially Losing Whole Year. That's probably just where a lot of it comes from. I could just stop there, but no. The Background, Motorcycle Drive-By, and I believe God of Wine, they don't follow very traditional structures of music. And what I mean by that is like, it's like verse, chorus, bridge, maybe something else, and then verse, chorus, or just chorus. It just depends. This thing just feels like a lot of these songs, especially the first two, Losing Whole Year and Narcolepsy, just feels like a verse, or like another way you could look at it is riff 1, riff 2, riff 3, riff 4, and it breaks into this, I don't want to say complex, but it's unique, it's creative. And I know as a kid that was one of the things that I think I I needed to understand it, but once I did, it made a lot of sense to me that there was something unique here about this band, and I shouldn't even say just them. Obviously, a lot of other bands do this, but it was unique in music creation and just the way you listen to songs that like it doesn't have to follow this structure. So that's one of the things that really pulls me into this album. It's one of the things that every time I hear a song that doesn't follow a structure, it immediately speaks out to me. Like, okay, I gotta listen to this. Like, I gotta hear out, you know, how it ties itself in, how it flows, what are the rhythms like, what are the feelings I get from it. So yeah, definitely have gotten that from this album, and I've used that as another critiquing thing. I guess I haven't really put it on here, but it's one of those things that I look for in music, particularly. By the way, let's see if we're in frame. Yeah, we are. That's good. I'm gonna use a 7-pointer to get some of this detail right here. Okay. So this is a very important album to me. Very important album to my family. The themes are there. There's a lot about love, about loss, about relationships, about struggle with personal issues. There's songs about addiction. There are songs about suicide, which is one of the most popular songs of theirs. It's funny because, you know, growing up, I think, at least from the radio as a kid and from the way I saw it when I was young, I used to think that maybe the most popular song was Semi-Charmed Life, and it probably still is. But I'd argue nowadays that Jumper is the most popular song, and for all the right reasons. So let's see what else can I say. So this out of the singles, each of them have, I believe, each of them have their music videos. I don't know if Graduate does. I could be wrong on that, but Losing a Whole Year. Let's start from the top and go through them. Losing a Whole Year, like I said, it doesn't follow a regular pattern of verse and chorus. It, if I was being honest, it does, but it starts off with a chorus and goes into a verse, and I think that, especially as a kid, catching on to that, and especially this being one of like the songs I was listening to in the car with family, it's it's one of the songs that I really started to pay attention to structure in music. So I think even though it does follow some type of structure, and I'd be lying to you, like I just did, that it doesn't. I think it's really the first song that I really started to notice, like, whoa, okay, songs are kind of like Legos, like you can build them in different ways, and you know there is a structure to them, and I think this song helped me see past the verse chorus type thing. I don't like how this tentacle or this pipe, or what would you call this? Not a pipe. Um, tube, no. Um, tube lining, no. It's a better word for it. Wire, wire maybe. Wire will work. Anyway, this is really the song that showed that to me, and where I learned that from, and where I started to have a different understanding about structure in music. So super importante. Importante. Okay, so Losing a Whole Year is a great song. It's about like this person that's, or it seems like, um, it's about this person who's given up a whole year with this partner that really doesn't deserve their love. They're kind of just taking their advantage of them, and yeah, it's a relationship song. One of those starts off. It's pretty good. It's got some silly lyrics in there. Um, there's one song about what is it about, like aqua lube or something? There's some mentions of sex in there. I think it's like the first lyrics of the song. It's like every day you and I used to spend the whole goddamn day in bed. So the album also has a lot of sex in the album, which is, you know, very formative. Listening to it as a young as a youngin'. I'm trying to figure out where to go next with this. I'm trying to make a big, large machinery thing here, but I'm having trouble figuring out its pieces and its parts. I don't want to just start drawing random stuff and not have some sense of unity. Anyway, so yeah, losing a whole year. It's really good. It's let's talk about the artists and the instruments and all that stuff. So singer Stephen Jenkins, he's very interesting. I'm gonna leave it at that. If you're a fan of Third Eye Blind, you know I'm not saying too much. I don't really want to. I'm a fan, but I'm not like big fan, especially since I'm still fairly young, and a lot of the stuff, a lot of the drama, it's past my time. So I'm just gonna focus on the other stuff that I do know, and which is that he's a good singer. I like his singing voice. I love his lyrics. Guitarist on this album is, oh my goodness, how do I not forget? I have Jimmy Chamberlain in my mind right now, so I'm skipping. I think the last name is Cadigan, Third Eye Blind. I know only the first name of the drummer. His name is Brad. Oh, I got it right here. Brad Hargreaves. I can probably pronouncing that wrong. So on this album in particular, it's Kevin. How could I forget Kevin? Kevin Cadigan. He's the guitarist of this album. He is a great guitarist. You can really hear how in a lot of these songs they're just really jamming, and they're getting a lot of different riffs and a lot of different sounds on there. He is a very talented guitarist. And then for bass, we have Orion Salazar. Orion's bass lines are pretty awesome. Brad's a good drummer. They're a talented group. Like I said, there's drama there, but I don't know it, so I'm not going to get into it. Just going to mention it so it's recognized. Yeah. So, narcolepsy is interesting. I think there's a lot to say about narcolepsy. So, first off, if you've never heard of narcolepsy, you may have heard Jumper or Semi-Charmed Life. If you've never heard Narcolepsy, it's a great song. It's such a fun song lyrically. If you're into writing, Narcolepsy has some great lyrics in there. But the important thing about Narcolepsy is that Stephen Jenkins, the singer, in one of his years of college, he got diagnosed with chronic fatigue disorder. I believe chronic fatigue disorder. And so he started to experience issues of narcolepsy, which is falling asleep when this fatigue gets to you. And he struggled with it throughout his college years. He's got some really powerful lyrics on that song that are just burnt into my memory. They will never go away. He's got some moments where he's talking, because the whole song is about, like, you know, this is what I have, this is what I'm going through, and this is what it's like. And he talks about his time in school in relation to that. You know, I believe he has his PhD. I could be wrong. He may have got it. It's one of those, like, really fucking esteemed schools, like Harvard or some shit. But he writes his lyrics sing along those lines of, well, fuck it, like, get a little self-conscious about it, whatever. I read dead Russian authors volumes at a time. I write everything down except what's on my mind. Damn, that, for one, that's just the feeling of college, but someone who's in a PhD program, like, gosh, that's just fucking beautiful. And just it's just in the middle of the song, and it's great. It almost makes me feel I'm frustrated that I didn't prepare, like, a printout of the lyrics of any of these songs. We're just kind of going off of what I remember. There's a great part in that it goes like, it keeps going. I write everything down except what's on my mind. But my greatest fear is a sunken sound, I believe it is. Because then I know I'll never get back out. And there's a bone in my hand that connects to a drink in a crowded room where the glasses clink. And I'll buy you a beer and we'll drink it too because that keeps me from falling asleep. And then he goes into this beautiful, just like, how would you like to be alone and drowning? How would you like to be alone and drowning? He just repeats it and repeats it and repeats it, and it brings you back to that fear of that sunken sound. It's just powerful. Someone that's gone through the ringer and is just putting it out there, and it's just it leaves an impression. It leaves an impression of what's important. It leaves an impression of just, you know, we all have our own struggles and we're all trying to get through them, and it just it jams. It's great. It's a banger. It's just a fantastic song. Every time I'm listening to it, I'm just caught up in the moments where we're singing it and just feeling that intensity of where the guitars go, and especially how it opens. It's just a fantastic song. Snarkolepsy, fucking great, fucking great. Semi-Charm Life, what's more to say? It's very popular of a song. I think one of the fun things is, especially if you listen to the lyrics, the song talks about doing crystal meth and all about sex and shit. If you listen to the radio edit, there's a couple of parts too about the sex thing, like, cut out, and it's one of those things. But it's a great song. It's fun. If you don't immediately recognize it, it's that one song that's very poppy and it comes on the radio. Do 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 do. It's a really good song, and it's interesting. It's fascinating. It's got a lot going on there. Definitely, if you've never really paid attention to the lyrics, you should, and get a good laugh in there, because it's got some fun curiosities. So let's focus on Jumper. So Jumper's a lot more to say about it. Jumper is like, it hits me very personally. I think a lot of people, it really does. So it's a song about suicide, and it's a song about suicide in particular, about a friend. It's about maybe even from what I was told when I was younger, it's a military person, but in particular, it's of someone who's took their life because they were gay, because they were struggling, either it be with the shame or with the struggles of being in a family maybe that doesn't support them, or, you know, all of the struggles, all of the burdens, everything that falls around in life with regards to living a life and being yourself and hiding yourself from everyone, maybe even yourself. And Jumper's about that. Jumper's about, there's not much I know I can tell you, but and if you really don't want to talk to me anymore because you need to do your own thing, like, I would understand, like, and that's like the heartache of it all. I've lost, as I've shared, I'm trans. I'm a trans woman. I've considered myself a trans woman, and I've lost friends to suicide. I've lost other trans women to suicide, and it's heartbreaking. It definitely doesn't leave. It's one of those things that just constantly comes up. If you're thinking about yourself, if you had a connection with them, if there's a sense of solidarity with having similar experiences with how you're going about the world. And so Jumper hits really hard. It's and it's got a strong acoustic guitar in it. It's really catchy. It's a good song. Honestly, it's one of those songs I think that had I not had as a kid, I think I would have become less understanding, especially about my own experience. It was one of those songs referred to, especially at an early age. This is about someone gay. And especially at that time when I first started listening to this album and listening to these songs, I was waking up from a lot of my own personal issues with that. So at least not being gay, but struggling with that sense of gay people and how I thought of other people looking at me, and kind of being an ass with regards to that. So yeah. So Jumper, Great song. An important mention. I always say this every time I'm listening to it. There's a breakdown in the middle of the song, and if you ever see them live, it's that breakdown is where they do their solos. So super fun, super important to bring up. Looking for a ruler. Could have sworn I had one. Oh, there it is. It's not a ruler, but it's fine. We can use it as such. Use it as such. I love this. You see that? I love how you draw the line and it cuts out these little spots. Fantastic. That just leaves room for detail. So, definitely something there, which is great. You know what? Draw another line right here. Like I said, leave a little bit of room for detail. Anyway, so yeah, Graduate's great. Just jumping to that song real quick. I think it's definitely a great song to listen to if you need something that's upbeat and just gets you right in. Graduate's fantastic. Definitely hits you with that. I was talking about this damn thing about leaving it open and I over here closed it. That's okay. Um, Definitely perfect for anyone that's feeling youthful and rebellious. Graduate's one of those songs. It's fantastic. Feeling like you still have a sense in the world, even though you're about to graduate and you don't know what the hell's going on, and you're still kind of a kid, and people who look down on you. But you know what? And maybe even impatience too. The song is about, because it's not like we really have graduated. Maybe it's not even about school. Maybe or about that setting. Maybe it's another situation of anything really. Especially since he was going to school, maybe it's has a lot of those issues. You know, he's struggling maybe as someone who wants to be in a rock band but is getting their PhD. So, an interesting little melody, very fun, great to play at graduations, graduation parties. Let me see. Are we still in frame? Yes. How's It Gonna Be is probably one of the best, if not, I mean, you know, what's to say it the best, but it's so good. I guess I can say it, to me, one of the best, if not the best, and it's probably not, but that's fine. Songs about being on the border of breakups, struggling with that sense of leaving someone and having to situate yourself through what that would feel like, and it's right in the lyrics, you know. How's it gonna be when, or sorry, not in the lyrics, right in the song title. How's it gonna be, you know, when you don't know me? How's it gonna be when you're sure I'm not there? When there's no one there to talk to between you and me? Because I don't care. It's relatable for both parties. It's relatable for any of that. I'm sure a lot of people can definitely say, especially if they love this band, that it's one of those songs that's actually kept them from leaving a relationship, because it really asked them to reconsider the situation, you know. So yeah, it's a pretty important song. Actually, I should mention, while I'm drawing this whole canon thing, I shouldn't have said it. It's a canon. I'm kind of getting inspiration from that Memories movie that I watched yesterday by let me see if I can remember, Katsuhiro Otomo. He had this whole part in the anthology about canon, a canon town, a canon city. It just got me inspired. Anyway, so how's it gonna be? It's a pretty moving song. It hits all the notes. It's definitely one of those songs to go to when you're in one of those moments, or even just listening to it. It's in the car and just in passing. Like it's It's a very fun song instrumentally. It's very easy to play. Or pick up a guitar. Yeah, it's got a lot of love, I'm sure. Moving on, and I didn't mention this in the opening. So why do I got a box over? Thanks a lot. So, if you would ask me maybe like a few months ago what my favorite song on this album is, or what's my favorite song by Third Eye Blind, I probably would have told you "Good for You." I love "Good for You." It's a very intense song. Sometimes I kind of project my own stuff onto it rather than it being a song about drug use. But at the end, it is really about drug use. And I had a moment where I was just, while I was thinking about these songs and listening to them before I did this, that no, Thanks a Lot is really my song. It's my favorite song on this album. It speaks most to not only what I've gone through, but what my experience is. And Thanks a Lot's really about a relationship. It's about a relationship where one of the partners, particularly the girl, she's had this past trauma of parents divorcing, and it's exactly my experience. You know, her zombie mom and dad live in a separate house of freaks, and in this situation, she's struggling with her sense of love. Maybe she's too confident and is struggling with that sense of intimacy because of the broken relationship. And you know, it may even feel like we're on a sinking ship because it's tough with a lot of the traumas. But in that situation, the partner, you know, there's a part, or the lyrics read, "I woke you up and I slit the throat of your confidence," and that speaks volumes to that sense of, you know, walls and barriers you put up within a relationship for whatever reason regarding to hurt. So I'm realizing, I don't know if this is in frame. I think it's barely in frame because I'm trying to put in. We know we're talking about things a lot. I'm drawing this drawing right here, and I'm realizing that like these lines that are holding up the this bullet or this cannon, if you dropped it in, how the hell would these lines try to get out? There would have to be like a little area where they would be able to sneak, but they would also have to be securely put on here. But anyway, it's paying attention to detail. So, Thanks a Lot has a lot of that vibe in there about relationships and the walls we put up, particularly for anyone with particular trauma that relates to love, holds you back maybe even from love with someone. I know I can relate to that. Maybe a little too personal to share, but it hits home a lot. And yeah. So Thanks a Lot is definitely a favorite. I think also it's one of the first songs that I ever really heard that had the fake out where you think it's over and then it's not. And Stephen Jenkins does one of like his yells during it. It's just such a great song. I love it. So yeah, I was gonna do a helicopter that's holding this or some type of like flying machine. Maybe it is like a robot. I was gonna do like a crane, but maybe it is like a robot. Let's do like a robot. Anyway, it's the next song on the list. So Thanks a Lot. My favorite song. It's home for me. It definitely not only speaks about where I've been, but also the type of relationship that I find myself in. I can understand if the song is about a breakup more in some way, but to me, it'll always be about kind of being in that situation of. I don't think it is actually. Maybe it is, and I'm just not trying to believe that it is. But I think more that it's a song about the struggles within that trauma and experiencing it within a relationship type setting. This is the robot. It's like a drone. Anyway, so this brings us to one of the points of mentioning why I don't have a star or a little circle on Burning Man in London. And this is where I break the every song rule. With a caveat, a couple caveats. First off, I do like Burning Man. Burning Man's a good song. I do like these songs. I think Burning Man has more going for it than London does, but I think that, and I've talked to family about this, and if you really take a moment to step back and think about it, like, London and Burning Man, they're good, but if you know Third Eye Blind's demos or any of their other discography, I really wish that is it Scattered? Is that the song's name? Let's see. Just make 100% sure it is Scattered. I know the other one is it All Right Caroline? I don't even know that song too well, and I could already tell you that I wish that it was on here. Scattered, yeah. Scattered should have been on there. I think if Scattered was on there, and maybe even All Right Caroline, even though I don't know that song as well as I know Scattered, I think it would be my number one, more than likely. Or at least I would be able to... I think even without it, I'd argue that it's better than my favorite album, but I think I would give it more of a placement on number 2. I would actually say it's my second favorite. Because it doesn't have those songs, those 2 songs pull it for me. It's a good album, but these 2 songs, they're just... Like I said, Burning Man, it's good. I do like it. There's some good guitar play there. There are some good lyrics. It's silly. I get it. There's only so much that's going on in it, but it's not bad. Let's see. Trying to make the barrel for this. This line's a little too close, but it is what it is. Let's see. Ooh, that should have gone a little bit further. It's fine. See, the problem here is I'm drawing like detail when this should be being drawn with a little bit more of a finer, what's the word? A finer pen. Back to it. Good for you. I think I've mentioned it. I think that's a lot of what I had to say. It's a song about addiction, but I think what's really good is the lyrics on there is really good. Because I see you cross my mind in disarray, intoxicated, ricochet, there's nothing wrong. Just don't take too long. Something along those lines. That is just, I mean, especially as a kid, I was just like, whoa, like, he's doing a lot with words. It's pretty cool. Very inspiring. Very inspiring stuff. But yeah, and I love how the guitar play really sounds in this song. It's very simple, but I think every time I listen to it and it has its particular soundscape, I just drop in. I love it. So yeah, definitely a recommend. If you know, I recommend the whole album, but it's a really good song. Maybe this is like a cartridge and it goes down. Maybe there's like an opening right here. This doesn't work. I should have done like a ruler. The problem with plastic instead of like wood. I think wood. That it does tend to smear, so I gotta be really careful. Jesus. I realize that the length of this, I might have to cut this into two. Well, it's gonna be like 5, maybe. Well, I thought it was gonna be like 2 or 3 parts, but now it might turn into 5 because I didn't think it would take this long. Definitely an experiment. Obviously, this thing would not be able to close. It should have stuck out a little more like this. It's whatever. It's all up to the imagination, really, right? So with Good For You out of the way, the last 4 songs on the album all deserve all of the attention and love because they're probably like the most important songs on the album, if not like the most thought-provoking, the most powerful, the most catchy. No, they're not even the most catchy, but they're really good. So first off, let's talk about I Want You. I Want You is probably one of the best love songs. It's great. It's such a good love song. It's just... How does it start off? The song starts off, the suckers lose themselves in the games they love to play. Children love to sing until their voices slowly fade away. I like to step away from what... Wait. People always like to say that they... No. Step away from what is true. That's why I like you around. I want you. So it's just... It's fucking great. Me trying to get this right. Children love to sing, but then their voices slowly fade away. People always wanted to take a step away from what is true. That's why I like you around. I want you. You do, you do, you do, you do, you do, you do, you do. Making me want you. It's just a good love song. It's solid. It's got every basis covered. There's a great use of even protection in there. The moment where the lyrics are send me all your vampires. It's like send me all the people who are fucking with you, or any of those like anxieties you have that constantly stick with you. So that we can talk through them and get past it and be able to reason out of them. Not reason even, you know what I'm trying to say. Getting all gushy and mushy. This perspective is messing me up here. I'm not very good with it. So if I had to take a guess, and since it's like this, then the other part would be the same like that. So like that. Maybe it comes down. Doesn't matter. It does matter, but it just doesn't. Let's come back down here. Let's add more details because I'm kind of done with that up area. So I Want You is a perfect love song. It's very catchy. It's got some synthesizers in there. Is that the word? Is that the instrument? It's definitely a song that it's worth listening to and kind of just feeling it out. There's not much more to say except for that it's got good lyrics. Let's see, add some little bit of detail. Moving on. Like I said, these are the last four. Even though I probably should be saying more, I think I have more to say with Motorcycle Drive-By and God of Wine. But I Want You and The Background are still really good songs. The Background is a great. Now, there are two points of view on this. I think you could take listening to the song. It's either about love and loss, or like actual like someone has passed. I think that's also the case for a little bit of God of Wine, but I think this one in particular has more to do with like losing a relationship. I'm not happy this came out darker. Let me focus on this bottom area. So Background is a good song. It's very chill, relaxed. The guitar comes in. It's got its right moments. It's just it's very the guitars, some of the guitar parts on it, especially the opening. It's like doom 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 doom. It's just for me it's nostalgic, but also the way it kind of builds in this like dreamy atmosphere is perfect for the lyrics story. That's what's being depicted, what they're trying to go for. It's perfect. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the lyrics in the background. See if there's any specials. Maybe this is a event or something. I'm gonna add some tubes right there. That's what we're missing. So if let's just talk about Motorcycle Drive-By, because I guess I don't have much more to say about the background, even though it's a good song. So Motorcycle Drive-By is a great breakup song. It's really fantastic. I don't know how many times I've had a breakup and then listened to it, even if it didn't apply. It's good. There's this acknowledgement of being alone, but also being free, and the way it builds, how it starts with I believe it starts with like an acoustic vibe and then goes into it. I believe this is like one like it's interesting because when you listen or when you think about this album, I believe it's if you think about it through radio and when it first came out and what still is probably Semi-Charmed Life is like probably their most popular song. I'd say that Jumper is the most loved song, at least on this album, I should say. Jumper is the most loved song on this album. But if you're talking to the fans, I'm pretty sure that most fans would probably say Motorcycle Drive-By is their like favorite song. It's really good. And Motorcycle Drive-By probably has the most of what I mean. It's just one straight through song, which maybe is a ballad. I don't know. I don't know what distincts a ballad from another type of song. But it's just straight all the way one way through. There's no verse, there's no chorus. It's like the first half and then the second half. And it's really good. I don't know why the lyrics are not coming to me. Let's see. The summertime and the wind is blowing outside in Lower Chelsea, and I don't know. In Lower Chelsea, and I don't know what I'm doing in the city. The sun is always in my eyes. It's like he went to go visit some girl in New York, is it? I forget where. And then I guess she didn't want him here, or like he must have driven by and then decided, you know what, I actually don't want this. It's a great song. The lyrics are really great. I think I would not be doing it justice to kind of read them off like I was with the other songs. And I don't have the best voice right now. I'm coming off of a little bit of a sore throat. Okay. So, final song on the album, God of Wine. It's got a lot of emotion in it. It feels like a DUI gone wrong. It feels like losing a best friend. And it's definitely got a lot of powerful riffs in there, the way it builds itself up. It's definitely one of the best songs on the album. It's not really one of my favorites. I think I'm drawn more toward the more popular songs, and as well as Thanks a Lot, and maybe even Jumper, Narcolepsy, How's It Gonna Be, Good for You. But these four songs, especially for anyone who's a real big fan of Third Eye Blind, they're very good. They're probably like the cornerstone of the band in terms of you know what I like to think of this too, especially in like structure of albums, is that the last songs are usually the best songs, and I probably would argue that God of Wine is probably the best song on the album. Like it's just one, and I shouldn't say best, but they should. Your album, especially with the last song, usually just ends with a bang. I'm sure it's very relatable when you talk about music. For a lot of artists, it's almost like the end is like a crescendo of the whole album. And I think God of Wine definitely carries a lot of the themes and throughout the album, and kind of pulls it into a place where it's finalized it through, and yeah, it's come back around to this place. I'm realizing there would have to be like a primer right here for the bullet. I think this is a good piece though, at least where it's gone. Interesting. We started off with this down here, Dem Goggles, and I don't know what. Brought up here, made like a canon type thing. I think it's a perfect set area with this and the little dude to. Sorry if I pick up the mic and make some stuff. So it's a great place to set that, so then we can do the lines up there. So we're about an hour. That's actually about it. I think that's a great place to call it. From here, I will do the second episode sometime this week. Or not the second part of this, where I'd go into another album. Definitely, I recommend Third Eye Blind self-title. It's a great album. I definitely would say that it's the most influential album on my sense of taste with music, what I like, and has given me an understanding of life in a way. And it's been a good it's like the album I grew up with. I love it. It's great. I think every time I'm listening to it, there's something new I catch. Like this time around, listening to it, preparing for this, it's Thanks a Lot, realizing that that's actually my favorite song on the album because it hits so close to home. And a lot of these songs really do. Jumper does. Not really so much the drugs, the addiction stuff, but I've learned a lot from them, at least in the fact that you hear a story, and that's as much as you can take. But yeah, so this is where we're at for this episode. Hope you've enjoyed my droning of Third Eye Blind self-title, and enjoyed my attempt to draw a cannon. Maybe in the next episode I can add more detail to it, and then move on to maybe making this bottom part more of a landscape or something. I think that would be pretty awesome. Maybe it's like a cliff and it's looking out. That'd be pretty dope. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope these episodes are of some expression of me and what I like and how I imaginatively come up with different artwork and ideas. I will let you go. Goodbye. 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 How do I stop this thing?